some football. It is the Legit Football NFL podcast, and I can barely contain my excitement. I see that handsome smile on that Australian devil across from me, Adrian Revito. I'm Kevin Phillip Fox, your host for the Legit Football NFL podcast. Adrian, are you ready?
It's time. It's actually time.
It's time. We knew it would come. Time works in a certain way where it always comes around. Time heals all wounds, and in this case, our wounds were just desperately trying to fill a void without football, and that void will now be filled at least until next February, when we'll have the void all over again.
Look, man, I mean, I know time kind of runs the same for everyone, but for me, I know it's been 7 months since football, but it feels like it's been 863 years. Like I cannot wait. For this season.
I agree with you, but I don't know about you. I think this is also your first off season as an analyst at like covering football.
It is, yeah. So it's
didn't it kind of make it feel like it was faster? I feel like that sped it up for me a little bit.
It kept football front of mind. I think I'm always sort of paying attention, but it kept it really front of mind because obviously we're doing on the show every week,
like a little nicotine patch.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good way to put it.
You're not now. We're still scratching our necks. We're still bumping for the next Marlboro, but we're in there like swimwear now, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin Phillip Fox and Adrian Revito here to give you some Week 1 previews. We had a couple quick ones. Adrian, I think it's time we just dive right into our legit headlines, and we're gonna start off in LA, where All-Pro wide receiver Cooper Kupp could be placed on IR. Kupp injured his hamstring on August 1st and experienced a setback last week. McVay indicated that Kupp is working with a specialist to determine whether the injury could be related to a nerve issue. A return does, in the moment, appear far off. Van Jefferson will assume wide receiver 1 duties for the Rams. Tutu Atwell, Demarcus Robinson, Puka Nacua, and Ben Skoranek will also see increased usage. Van Jefferson caught 24 of 44 targets for a 55% completion reception percentage last year for 369 yards and 3 tutties across 11 appearances. Atwell, an undersized but speedy former second-round pick, is seen by some in the organization as a possible breakout. Adrian, tragic news about Cooper Kupp. He was going in the top 5 of fantasy drafts. It felt like the reascension that we've all been waiting for. That's all just completely on hold now, and how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, it sucks for the Rams, particularly the Rams. I mean, we kind of don't know what they are this year because they should have been better than they were last year. They weren't.
Yeah.
They made the mistake last year of not putting Van Jefferson on IR until I think it was week 2, so they never got him back till week 7. They need to. So I think they need to make this decision, if I'm not wrong, by Saturday to decide if they're going to put him on IR. Because if they do, just get him on there because you need him back ASAP. Yeah. As most people will know, you go on IR, you're out for 4 weeks minimum. So get that done. I don't know about the depth chart behind it. Even Van Jefferson, I know he had a good year in 2021. He's not an elite wide receiver. They've got a rookie, Puka Nacua. I'm interested to see how he goes. His college career was sort of hamstrung a bit by injuries, pun intended. Nice. But look, other than that, look, we don't really know what the Rams are. Without Cooper Kupp, I feel like we do know what they are, and they're going to be a bit of a train wreck.
It's tough because, I mean, in Stafford we trust, right? That's the moniker of Lions fans. It's the moniker of our producer, Anthony Weiner. And last year we didn't see Stafford at full health, and we didn't see him with a full set of weapons. And the Rams were essentially, in my opinion, basically a tank fest. And they might be that again this year, unfortunately. I don't know though. I mean, look, if Stafford's fully healthy and they have a young team, so they could be potentially, they could uncover some gems. Is there anything to look forward to if you're a Rams fan, or are you thinking it might be burn it down time?
Yeah, I think the latter. I mean, it's interesting that Kelly Stafford put out a story about how Matt Stafford's not connecting with the younger players on the team, which is a weird one. They need to get you in there. You're the young person, like translator of this show. I feel like they need to over there at Rams camp.
Yeah, let me be the go-between Stafford and the guys.
It is a weird move. So that'll be an interesting sort of storyline to track to see what his I guess his chemistry is with the younger guys. I don't know. I mean, look, this is what I will say. And we've said this on this show before. The Rams kind of pre-burnt it to the ground to get the Super Bowl, and now you're paying the price. So no one's complaining. You've got the ring. It sucks, but it might just be time to do that.
Well, and I'll tell you what, coming from a starving fan base, I would do the same if I were them. I mean, I'd rather not. I would much
Mm,
rather do it the Chiefs or the Eagles way, where you're building yourself to contend year in, year out, and you just hope to one day be the one who gets the lottery ticket. But that being said, if it does work out and you are in Les Snead and Sean McVay and Matt Stafford's shoes, not a single person is going to complain. Not a single person's got anything to say.
absolutely.
Ultimate goal, and you've accomplished it. Congrats. As far as Cooper Cup goes, yeah, I mean, they really should probably. I like your stance of just ripping the Band-Aid off, throwing him on IR. If I were a betting man for fantasy purposes, Jefferson would be my 1A of Ram stashes, but even him, I'm not that jazzed about. I might, and then Nakua is my 1B, and then I'm not looking at any of the other names,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Tyler Higbee, I guess, gets a little bump.
Yeah, we get something.
It's kind of just it's just kind of ugly all around to me.
They said it could be a nerve issue, and I think I feel like they're hard to diagnose. Now, I'm no surgeon, as you guys know,
Yeah.
but it's a hard one to diagnose and a hard one to fix. So I think get it, like you said, rip the band-aid off, get him on IR, and have him back by week 5.
That's what I would do, and I like where your head's at. I think we're ready to move on to our next
Yeah,
legit headline. Commanders are optimistic about wide receiver Terry McLaurin playing in week 1. McLaurin, who suffered turf toe this offseason, practiced on Wednesday and appears to be on track for the opener against Arizona. The Commanders will increase his workload today and see how his foot responds. McLaurin told reporters, "I've played through ailments before, and so I know the difference between being a little sore and feeling like you just can't go. I'm confident with where things are right now, and I'm just going to continue to try to have a good day tomorrow, see how I feel waking up after today, and take it from there." Behind McLaurin, the Commanders do have a stud, Jahan Dotson. A lot of people are super in on him. I'm one of those people, got him in a couple leagues. Curtis Samuel, who, former speedster for Carolina, he's got some juice. Not a lot of consistency, but, he's got some juice. Diami Brown, who's kind of an undiscovered guy, younger guy, a lot of potential. And Byron Pringle, artist formerly known as Patrick Mahomes, wide receiver 4. So I don't hate the lineup there. And I think against Arizona, if I was their wide receiver 1, they'd still have a great shot to take the dub. So I'm not mad if McLaurin's good enough to go. I'm not mad at it. I hope he is. I also have McLaurin shares, believe it or not. I found the Commanders receivers to be values this year. But that being said, Adrian, what are your thoughts on this? And do you think McLaurin ultimately goes?
Yeah, it's he had full practice on Wednesday. Like I said, they're going to increase his workload, so I think he's got a good chance. He's going to want to be on the field, new ownership. And Cardinals have the number 29th ranked secondary, so
It'd be
really,
a feast for him.
oh yeah, besides Buda Baker to maybe minimize his yards after catch.
Yeah.
It's and speaking of kind of hard injuries, turf toe is another hard one where it's like you kind of don't know how long they're going to be out for, and it's a hard one to play through. So you don't know if you're going to get 100% scary Terry.
Yeah.
But you're right, they've got a good a good wide receiver room behind him. I'm a bit in on Jahan Dotson. I don't know if I'm all in, but I feel like he could definitely have a bit of a breakout year.
Yeah, he had a good little preseason. He made some flashes. He had some good buzz. Good reception perception profile. A lot of touchdowns as a rookie. That's something you got to
Yeah,
look out for. Touchdowns are sticky. So
he's got some pop. He's definitely got a bit of sizzle, doesn't he? So
yeah.
yeah, interested to see how this one goes. I feel like any wide receiver is going to want to be on the field against Arizona. So
Literally.
Terry, yeah, just get on there, mate, make it
Pad your
happen because
stats.
I feel like
I called it a tune-up game yesterday. That's what it is.
yeah,
If
it
you if
totally
you
is.
it's you've seen The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler.
Such a fan.
I watched it the other day. It's one of my all-time favorite football movies. But schedule your first game against a trash opponent, Appalachian State. In the Guards' case, it was the Prisoners, and of course, we all know how that story turned out. If you don't, watch the movie. But if Washington doesn't hang 35 on AZ, I'd be a little worried about him.
If you don't know how that movie ends, and this is the only time I'm ever going to say this, turn this show off right now and go and watch it.
Yeah, really. I would actually
It's
be quite
super
disgusted
important to
with
your life.
any of
Yeah.
our viewers or listeners if they hadn't seen it. It maybe Adam Sandler's finest work. There we go.
Whoa.
And Anthony coming in with the heat. We do have breaking news. Thank you for the siren. I think we've said all we need to say. I project Terry goes, and if he doesn't go, fire up Jahan Dotson. But either way, the Commanders are going to wipe the floor with Arizona. We're on the same page.
Yep, absolutely.
Really quick, let's get into this. Travis Kelce is officially ruled out for Thursday night's game against the Lions. Tough break for the Chiefs. Tough break for the Travis Kelce drafters, present company. included. I might have to leave the podcast to go make myself throw up really quick and then come back. I had never ever drafted Travis Kelce in fantasy in my whole life, and I always thought that looks like so much fun. And now I am saddled with a hyperextended 40-year-old man with a bleach blonde hair and a mustache.
Oh
Doesn't get
man,
much worse.
that is it doesn't, does it?
Nope.
That's a sentence you really don't want to say ever in your life.
This is actually a curse, I think. It's okay. You know what? We'll talk about it a lot during the Thursday night preview, but we have a lot to get to today. And I'm thinking we just keep this thing moving into our main topic. Oh, baby. First one of the regular season. We're doing game previews. We're going game by game. Anthony's got a timer set, so we're not gonna be dragging on. We're not gonna be wailing on. We're gonna be talking about every single game here. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna keep this thing moving. This is an active locomotive. Stay off the tracks if you don't want to get ran over. Adrian, are you ready for this?
Let's get it, man. I have been waiting for this.
Let's go. Panthers at Falcons. Falcons are 3.5-point favorites. Adrian, we can do a little game pick situation. We can break down matchups. I'm thinking I'm going to let you take the lead on this one.
I mean, I'm definitely banging the Falcons at under 3.5. Let's talk about the Falcons for a second, because I mean, I said recently I'm Rich McFadden level of love for the Falcons. Looks like Armand had a little hot take there that's up on the screen. So Thielen and Chark have missed practice today.
So maybe not even a hot take. Maybe just maybe just breaking news. That's our Adam Schefter. Armand Schefter is his name.
As always. So, so I'm really excited to see Bijan in his first full game. I think he's going to be featured pretty heavily. Kyle Pitts last year was the most missed target in the NFL. So, as in the most uncatchable balls thrown his way out of anyone in the NFL. So, I'm hoping that this is the year we finally see Kyle Pitts come out to be the man that he wants to be.
You're looking for a little positive regression from Kyle Pitts?
Yeah. Okay. I'm just looking for him to live up to what we kind of expected him to be.
I can dig that.
And I'm just look, all eyes are going to be on Ritter here to be able to just be a little bit better. You don't have to be Aaron Rodgers, man. You just got to be just a little bit better. The weapons around you, Drake London, is going to be exciting to see. I feel like this is going to be the game that defines what the Falcons season will be like. The Panthers, they're going to be going through growing pains. So if they tank here, don't stress. That's not the end of your season. Although I wouldn't have super high hopes. But the Falcons, if you tank here, myself included, who drafted Bijan in the first round, we're all going to be a little bit worried.
Could get ugly. Yeah. I'm gonna echo your sentiments there. I do think Falcons -3.5 is the right pick. I just think they have the firepower, they have the talent, they've gotten a lot better on defense. Panthers, I think, are a year or two away. It's going to be really fun to watch Bryce Young try to grow and develop. And that whistle does mean it's time to talk about the next game. Mr. Adrian,
Texans. Oh, man, I'm going to speed it up.
Oh, it's all good, man. Texans at Ravens, -10.5. Texans are my resident fanboy team, so I'll talk about this one first. I do think that, unfortunately, the vibes in the offseason, I kind of was looking for them to be a little better than they are trending to be. I don't know if it's, nothing wrong with the personnel decisions or anything along those lines. I just think we're looking at a team that's a year and a couple pieces away, which is fine. These years are so important towards building a great team. So I'm looking to see how CJ Stroud comes out and plays. I think you can smash Ravens -10.5. It should probably be more, to be completely honest with you. I don't see the Texans getting much going on offense. I think the Ravens are going to maybe keep them to under 20 points, which, is never a great recipe for fantasy. I love Dameon Pierce. I love, the way that CJ Stroud projects to play in the NFL, but it's a ways away. I think Lamar and company just steamroll.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to disagree with you on this. I think the Texans at 10.5. I'm not saying the Texans are winning, but Texans at 10.5. I think I'd be taking that because you got a new offensive coordinator in. It always takes a little bit of time to gel with that. I've been a passionate advocate for how much I do not like their wide receiver room. Although I'm interested to see how Zay Flowers goes here. So I feel like D'Amico Ryans is going to come in and make a stand from the word go, particularly on defense. So I think he's going to keep it closer than 10.5. That's a pretty big line. I think the biggest line last season was maybe 14 points.
Yeah, there was some
10.5 is a pretty huge line.
Yep, and Armand astutely pointed out the Ravens have played down to their competition level in the past. I think this is a different Ravens team. I'm very ready to see them put all the negative Ravens stigmas behind them.
Why though? Is it because the contract? Can I ask you? Because I'm genuinely questioning.
That's part of it. That's part of
People
it.
think Lamar's going to be this different guy. Like he's got money, cool, but
that's
like
part of it. The contract, the new OC, the
yeah,
weapons.
okay.
He's never had these weapons before, Adrian. Right? Like we've never seen Lamar Jackson with that many cooks in the kitchen. I'm looking forward to it. And hey, text me privately if you want to do a little Texans plus 10.5. I don't want to bet against my boys, but I think I might have to. Next on the docket, Adrian, I'm going to let you take the lead on this one. We have Joey B's Cincinnati Bengals at the Cleveland Browns, who are 2.5-point underdogs at home. Adrian, talk to me.
I'm so pumped for this game. Actually, this is probably one of my ones to watch for week one. Yeah, sneaky big game. Well, here's a little stat for you. Joey B last season was sacked 4+ times in 5 games. He lost 4 of them. One of those being the Browns. He also never cracked 100 passer rating in those games.
Tough.
That was the Browns with really. I mean, I know they had other players, but that was really just Myles Garrett. Now they've got Darius Smith on the other side as like a legit
scary
sort of pass rush duo. Denzel Ward he came back from a concussion for some light practice. That'll make a difference if he's not back in. They've got their new safety, Juwan Thornhill. I'm really kind of excited, if anything, to watch this defense, which I'm an offense guy, like a lot of fans. Like I'm an offense guy, but I am excited to watch some D here and see what they do to Joey B. And then, of course, Deshaun Watson. You know, I've been pushing question marks, and I've gone back and forth on him a lot this offseason. So I'm really kind of keen to see what he delivers.
I think you're the resident truther for Deshaun Watson. I will argue for that.
I reckon someone could cut like snippets from our previous shows and have me argue with myself, because sometimes I'm on board with him and sometimes I'm against him.
I'm inclined to believe that the dip is real. I do think he's not the player that he was in Houston anymore. It'll be interesting to see. Definitely excited to watch the Bengals. I think, I've said this on the show. I'm paying close attention to their defense and I'm paying close attention to their running game, because I think those areas will regress this year. Burrow is good enough to overcome them, but will he? Especially with a calf strain within the last handful of weeks. This is not just some slam dunk game that it used to be. The Browns had a great offseason. So I think it's going to be a really interesting game. I would still take the Bengals -2.5 for sure, but I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think.
I mean, if we're picking, I might go on the Browns on this one.
I think we should pick. I
might go the Browns outright for what it's worth.
Ooh, I love that.
I think there's a new top dog. I think there's a new top dog in the AFC North.
You are in the freaking ghost pepper world right now, brother. I love it. Next up on the docket, we have Jaguars at Colts, who are 4.5-point dogs at home. Adrian, I'm excited to watch Anthony Richardson play. I love his style. I love his traits. But Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence, the prince who was promised, they have something to prove. I think that Jacksonville's going to come out and have a statement win in Indianapolis to open the season. I think you could see Trevor Lawrence with 303 in this game. And if they get up big enough and ETN and Tank Bigsby can do some running, that could be really exciting. Adrian, what do you make of this game?
It's going to be one of those games, because all they've got, the only tape you've really got on Anthony Richardson, besides his sort of final year at college and a bit of preseason, which is really not much to go on. They don't play the same schemes. They don't play the same plays. This is one of those things where it might be like an early MVP career, like Lamar level, where they just don't know what to do with him. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be MVP. Don't take that the wrong way. Right. But I think that the Colts might keep it a bit closer than we expect. But I like the Jags for this.
4.5.
Overall, I mean, look, I'm all in on the Jags this year. I've said, my feelings on Calvin Ridley. I'm not going to go over it for the 15th time on this show.
Right.
So I'm all in on the Jags here, and I do think Trevor Lawrence is going to be an MVP candidate at the end of this year.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm all on board this. I think it's going to be a big one.
Calvin Ridley, anytime touchdown scorer. You taking that?
Yep, I would. I'd want to see the odds, but I'd take it.
So too is our producer Anthony Wayner. I love it. I think this is a kind of a layup game. I think this is one where if we got some compelling games to talk about later, we can save some time on this one and keep it breezing. Next up on the docket, Mr. Adrian Revito, we have Buccaneers at Vikings. We have your Buccaneers,
my boy,
versus the Vikings. We're looking at Baker Mayfield traveling to Minnesota, who are 6.5-point favorites. And hey, listen, man, I think this one, for whatever it's worth, I'm low on the Buccaneers, heavily low on the Buccaneers, but I'm not high on the Vikings either. And I think 6.5 is maybe a sucker line. It's just close enough.
Okay.
Thank you, AI Kevin. I think it's just close enough where I'm like, yeah, I kind of think that's not. I mean, I think smart money's on Vikings -6.5, but it's not crazy to think that the Buccaneers could keep it closer.
It's not. I mean, I'm with you on the Vikings. I wasn't behind the Vikings last year, let alone this year. Like, they actually had results last year. I think they're going to regress. We all know that they're not going to hit those one score games again.
100%.
Even with Kirk Cousins, with his year to prove. I think, is it Mike Evans that's gone through some contract issues with the Bucks?
Yes,
he's actually to sort of week one.
Got a deadline for them of Saturday, or else he said this is last year.
And I'll see him shooting up somewhere else next year. I don't think they're going to get it sorted. I think they're kind of in tank mode. If you keep Baker Mayfield, and I'm a Baker Mayfield person, but if he's your like number one option, you don't really have anyone else behind him besides Kyle Trask. You're kind of playing for next year's draft. Let's be honest.
It does feel like that, but like, let's see, right? Like, let's go out there and see. But I do think at least this week, the Vikings are kind of set up to look like frauds, because even if they crush the Buccaneers, what are people going to say? Oh, good job. Yeah. So you handled the Buccaneers at home in week one. Like, yeah, this is kind of I think Kirk and Justin Jefferson will have a big game. Look for Alexander Madison to score a touchdown, but yeah, give me Vikings -6.
Yeah, and that is, I mean, that's one thing I do want to see is how JJ comes out of the gates, because we're kind of all pegging him for this 2,000-yard season, and but a 2,000-yard season means like over 100 yards every week. Yeah. No questions asked. You have to. So
you absolutely have to, for sure. Yeah, that's a signed, sealed, delivered game. You're in on Vikings -6.5.
Yes, I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good about it.
Yeah,
like as in, I have to, because all logic tells you that, but
right.
I don't feel good.
I'm in on it. I'm in on it personally. Let's keep it moving. We got a couple more games to talk about. We got Titans at Saints, who are 3.5-point favorites at home. Makes sense, they're home. But the Titans didn't rebuild. We're all expecting a rebuild this offseason, just waiting on the news. Tannehill's gone, Henry's traded, this, that, and the other. Instead, we kind of got all-in kind of moves, like going out and signing DeAndre Hopkins, which can't say that I would have made the same choice if I were them, but they do clearly see some sort of a window here. So they're 3.5-point dogs against Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints, who don't really have much of a defense to speak of. I project their defense to get better. I'm projecting them to win the division. So I'm in on the Saints, but I think -3.5 is another sucker line. If the Saints win this game, I think it'll be by a field goal or less. So I'm very comfortable picking Titans to cover the spread.
Yeah, this is going to be a weird game to see Derek Carr in a Saints outfit, D-Hop in a Titans outfit. I know I do look. I like their I do like who Derek Carr's throwing to. I like John Johnson. I think he's a bit underrated. Same with Rashid Shaheed. Same deal.
Love Rashid Shaheed. Yep.
Yeah. So I think it's good. But you're right. We kind of all expect them to burn it to the ground. I'm with you that they should have. I think they should have sort of shipped Derrick Henry out of the building, Tannehill over to the Falcons, whatever. But it is. It is. They are where they are, and they've gone in and gone D-Hop and paid him the bag. So they're going to have to deliver some goods here.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they're going to have to deliver some goods. Going to be interesting to see. I do think the Saints will come away with this one. I'm going to take the 3.5.
You're going to take the Saints with the 3.5. You pick the Saints to cover.
Yeah, I'm going to pick
them to cover. Are just going to get too close. They have a great defense. They're well coached. They have Derrick Henry.
Their defensive front is great, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe you're right.
I don't know. It's tough. Because I still like the Saints.
Why do you have such compelling arguments, Kevin?
I'm sorry, dude. I know I'm arguing against myself. I like the Saints this year, but I just think the Titans will keep it close. They're that kind of team.
I think I don't know if you're on board with me here, and we've talked about this the last couple of shows. I like them because of their schedule, not because I like the Saints.
That's a big part of it. That's a big part of it too. And it looks like Armand is picking the Titans to win. So let's keep this one moving. We are chugging along. This is the kind of pace that legit football is going to have moving forward, because before we were like, oh, Aaron Rodgers is doing this weird experimental mental health thing today. Now we're like, nah, bro, we got 16 games. Come on, let's go. There's no bye weeks. Let's go. 49ers at Steelers, who are 2.5-point home
Huge
underdogs.
Game.
Adrian, Am I the only one who thinks the Steelers are being slept on in this game?
Absolutely. No,
Oh,
you're
the
not the
only
only
one.
one. Sorry.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no, you're not
Sorry.
absolutely the only one. Sorry. They are absolutely being slipped on. I'm on board with you on this. I think Brock Purdy's going to come back. He's got a lot of hype to live up to. Like
Yeah.
he has a lot of hype
It
to live
could
up
be
to.
coming crashing down to earth.
Yeah, I think the fact that they've sorted out Bosa probably like tweaked this line slightly. I think if Bosa wasn't on the field, that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think the Steelers are being slept on hard, especially after their preseason. I know it's preseason, but they probably won the preseason.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
their offense was amazing. Their lines were fantastic. And that's the thing. I think the 49ers dominated last year because they both their lines were just dominant, for lack of
Yeah.
a better term, because dominant. But the
Let's
Steelers
go.
are going to be able to hold their own. I think that. And
Appreciate you, Armand.
yeah, Ahmad's got it.
Yeah, no, I here's what I'm thinking, Adrian, right? Lot of hype to live up to for Brock Purdy. Banged up superstars for the 49ers. Kittle is, I think, trending towards playing, but he was questionable, which is
I'll
not
check while we're
great.
talking.
I love George Kittle. I personally really hope he plays. He's my dynasty tight end. But look, the Steelers did have one of the best off seasons, preseasons. Kenny Pickett is looking like his ceiling is higher than we all initially thought. I'm super in on Deontay Johnson, George Pickens. Jalen Warren's a nice change of pace back. Najee's going to hold it down. He's going to be your between the tackles 20 touch guy. I think this game could be closer than a lot of people think, and Steelers are definitely covering. I might pick them outright.
Yeah, I hear that. So they've got George Kittle had light practice, still no game status for him. Bufunga light practice, so that's an interesting one as
That's
well.
big. Yeah, that taking the top off the defense. Pickens could really eat.
Yeah, but from the Steelers side, Cameron Hayward, Larry Ogunjobi, both did not practice in light practice. So injuries may play a part here, particularly on
Ooh,
those
a
lines.
little too early for all that. What's up with that?
Yeah, but I'll take the Steelers 2.5.
Yeah,
I'm
100%.
really in on the Steelers this year.
I actually am
Weirdly,
surprisingly am too. Yeah, I'm been rising all off season. So great call, Adrian. We're keeping it moving. We have maybe the gimme game of the week,
It
and I think
is.
that line is probably 100%. I think you can smash the over on this line. I don't think there's any doubt. We have Cardinals at Commanders, and you have the debut of Cardinals' newly acquired quarterback as of 7 days, Josh Dobbs, who's starting, I'm hearing, finally, after Jonathan Gannon with all the gamesmanship BS. Well, let's call it what it is. Oh, I'm not going to tell you who's starting. Get out of here, bro.
Please.
Go read a book. That's the PG version of what I want to tell him to do. But it's fine. Because we all know the Cardinals are a dumpster fire. Sam Howell's coming out party we could be looking at. We already talked about it in the legit headlines. Start your Commanders' offensive weapons in this game because the Cardinals had a fire sale as of a handful of weeks ago, getting rid of Isaiah Simmons, getting rid of their starting tackle. I don't think there's any question in anybody's mind the Commanders are winning this game, and I think 7.5 does not do the Commanders' good offseason justice.
I do love the thought of the Cardinals coaching staff like in a room. Like, no, don't tell them if it's Joshua Dobbs or 5th round rookie Clayton Tune. Now they're not going to know who to prep for. Like, dude, get it together. Just get it together as much as you can be. But I will say this: we don't know a lot about Sam Howell yet. Ron Rivera's playing for his job.
Yeah,
that's unquestionable.
Yep.
And they've got new ownership, so that makes it even more the case. So unless Sam Howell comes out and is like an actual dumpster fire inside another dumpster fire, I don't think then that 7.5 is easy.
I like Howell.
Yeah, I think we spoke about this, that between him, Ritter, and Jordan Love, I think Hal has they're kind of the unknowns here. I think Hal has the most likelihood to actually be an above average starter.
I think I think all three of them have the chance to be.
They do.
And don't sleep on your boy Love. That's all I'll say. He got a lot of love on the show last night. McFadden picked you guys to sneak into the playoffs, and just like that on cue. That's good production right there, ladies and gentlemen. We have the Green Bay Packers, who are starting a new quarterback, Jordan Love. Will he be the third straight Hall of Famer? We will see. At the Chicago Bears, who also had a pretty solid offseason. I would make the case that they are maybe the NFC winners in the offseason race. You're looking at a 1.5 point Bears favorite in this game, which is that's a little dicey to me. They haven't really done much to earn it. Adrian has his Packers hat on. He's rubbing it for good luck. Adrian, I'm going to let you take the floor. Oh, Anthony hates both these teams. Let's tee it up, Adrian. Go off.
Don't sleep on the Packers here. Do not. So, okay. So, Packers have shipped out former Bears owner Aaron Rodgers. They've now brought in Bears' son? Bears' son, Jordan Love. Happy Father's Day.
Yeah. You got it. Happy Father's Day.
Get it together, JL. But no, look, I don't think, to me, all these, the field, Justin Fields' hype is so palpable that it doesn't make sense that he's got this much hype after a 3-win season. His stats are lower than the first 2 seasons of Mitch Trubisky, besides rushing yards. I'm just going to say it, like, his pass game, everyone called him, I know, when I did this show with McFadden, and we went around the NFC and we talked about this, everyone talked about the passing game of Justin Fields in college, and that's why he was such a big prospect.
Right.
And that hasn't translated. I don't know why it's going to be all of a sudden one. There is an injury for Watson and Dobbs. So if both of them don't play, that 1.5 line will change. But I don't think it's going to be both of them out. They might limit snaps a little bit. Dobbs showed some serious chemistry with Jordan Love during preseason, so I really want to see how that plays out. I feel like he might even come out of this wide receiver 1 by the end of the season. I'm picking the Packers. I'm never going to not pick, just FYI, because I'll try and not be a homer in most cases, but I'm never going to pick against the Packers.
No, I very much respect you owning the homerism, because I'm actually in denial about my homerism. So I respect it. But you know, I do believe in Chicago quite a lot. I love the Tremaine Edmonds signing, the TJ Edwards signing. I was talking to Brian about how many pieces they actually have on defense. I love Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, Eddie Jackson. They got pieces, Adrian, and the offense is projected to be a lot better. I still think because the Packers are the ones they're the incumbent, right? They were better last year. I do think I'm inclined to pick them to win this game on the road at Chicago. And I think the Bears are still going to be a year away from being, but I think the Packers have enough of an infrastructure in place that they'll win this game, I think.
Yeah, I think I'll just say one other thing, because I know we've got our whistle.
Yeah.
I think this is another game. There's a couple games, and Anthony's Lions being one of them, where this game will define your season a little bit. Packers have historically come out slow in week 1, but without Aaron Rodgers, I feel like you really need to get this win here to set the pace, because otherwise you're starting with a divisional loss.
Yeah,
that's right.
You're so right. You need a good tone setter, and the Packers, Rodgers was probably partially the problem with the week 1 woes, which is what I'm counting on this year. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, Raiders, the Vegas Raiders at Broncos -3.5. Broncos are 3.5 point favorites after last year. Talk about a dumpster fire inside of a dumpster fire. They would be the maggots that were eating the trash in the middle dumpster. Yeah, I'll go that far. That was the worst, most atrocious season I've ever seen in my life. Right?
I hear you on that. No, not at all. No, but it was accurate for last season, but I'm going to put some of that on Nathaniel Hackett. I have to. I have to put it, like, similar to, there's been a couple of coaching jobs that have been as bad as that. Urban Meyer's been one of them.
Yeah.
So you've got to put some of it to that. I don't think the Raiders are amazing. You know how I feel about Jimmy G.
Yeah.
I know you're going to go on your soap about Jimmy G here, but I don't believe in him.
I will.
Do it. I want you to, but
let's think about this. Okay, Sean Payton. Yes. Sean Payton is a great head coach. He's a Super Bowl champion, well-respected, done a lot of great things in the league. But think about this. What has he done lately? He's been an analyst. He had some rough seasons in New Orleans before he left. And the first thing he does when he gets to Denver is ruffle a bunch of feathers and make everybody feel bad and have Aaron Rodgers calling him out publicly and is hedging himself, saying, he did such a bad job. How could I possibly turn it around this quickly? Adrian, the vibes are bad for me. Jerry Jeudy's injury, Tim Patrick's injury, Javonte Williams is coming back. I actually am a big fan of his. I'm hoping he comes back strong. The Raiders, on the other hand, yes, Josh McDaniels is equally as much of a dumpster fire inside of a dumpster fire. Josh McDaniels is a crumpled up Doritos bag inside of the third dumpster. We're playing dumpster inception here, and Josh McDaniels is equally bad. But the Raiders did have some nice offseason acquisitions, and I think they're going to surprise people in this game.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of drama going on with Chandler Jones.
Yeah, that's not great.
He doesn't want to play. Publicly saying he doesn't want to play.
Yeah.
Look, this game is not one I'm excited to watch. Nope. I'm going to say that.
This game is the dumpster fire. This game is the worst.
The only intrigue is if Russell Wilson is better. But other than that,
yeah. And here we go. From a dumpster fire to maybe one of the marquee matchups of the weekend. One of the games that I'm the most excited about. We have Brian's Miami Dolphins, who, by the way, Adrian Bryan left out of the playoffs in his season prediction last night. Ooh. Spoiler alert. You got to go listen
I reckon
to that 30 minutes.
That's reverse psychology.
I kind of thought the same thing.
Yeah.
But at the LA Chargers, who are 3.5-point favorites with the top 5 quarterback that everybody wants to crown, Justin Herbert. I'm so freaking excited for this game, dude. We got strength going up against strength. We have a great passing offense of Miami. We have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Some new talent, running back Devon Achane, going up against Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnston and Mike Williams and Gerald Everett. Adrian, this game has shootout written all over it.
All over the place. Kellen Moore coming in to put his stamp in. They're going deep this game because Kellen Moore's going to come out. I'm going to call it here. He's going to come out with an absolute bang. Yeah. Love the Quentin Johnston pickup.
Me too.
Really keen to see how he goes here. But I think this is going to be let me give it over here. I'm going to call it over 60 total points.
Holy, I think you could be right. It's high.
It's not unbelievable to be they're both gonna hit over 30.
And the Vegas line is probably significantly lower than that. You should look up the Vegas line. Because you might be able to take that one right to the bank, bro.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, check out the Vegas line, and I'll just tell you this.
51.
So yeah, you take that straight to the bank, bro. Yeah.
Is it sad that I've got it open in a tab? Is that sad?
No. That's not sad, I'm proud of you. That's why you're on this show. I love Herbert. I've been saying I don't know if he's the top 5 quarterback that people tell me he is, but I am. If I were a betting man, which I am, I do think he will prove in this game that he's on the way to becoming the guy that people have said he was since his rookie year. Phenomenal breakdown there. By the way, I'm Chargers -3.5. How about you? Before we move on.
Yep.
Eagles at Patriots. Another one of, in my opinion, the most gimme games on the schedule. And the line, I think, maybe is indicative.
4.5. 4.5 is way under what I expect that to be. I'm going the Eagles all day.
I think everybody and their mama will be in on Philly -4.5 at New England. I think it could be a long, painful, difficult, tumultuous, ugly, gross season for New England. I used one too many adjectives, didn't I? I think they're going to have a tough season. Tough schedule for the AFC East this year, and Mac Jones has to really, really recapture that magic he had as a rookie. But we all know Jalen Hurts is going to go out there and set the world on fire this year. He's my MVP pick.
Do we all know that?
I know that, Adrian, and the fact that you don't, shame on you.
No, but do we all know that? I
think we do.
I'm not saying. Listen, I'm going to go on the record. I'm not saying that he's going to be bad. All I'm saying is that yes, he had a killer season last year, but he I don't see it as impossible that he's going to regress. I don't see in the range of outcomes. I could see a post Lamar Jackson MVP season where teams kind of worked him out. They didn't know what to do with him last year, and now they've kind of got it sorted.
So you kind of feel similarly about Hurts as I do to Herbert. You're like, let's see him put together a string of seasons. Let's see him, I mean,
he put on a show at that Super Bowl.
I was going to say he had a great game on the biggest stage of the season. That sticks with
one of the best. Yeah, one of the best. And I'm not saying that I'm not taking away from that. So I'm interested to see if he regresses, and you'll know in this game. There's 2 things to watch for here, in my humble opinion.
Armand's astutely pointing out that Week 1 is crazy. The Steelers beat the Bills in Week 1 a couple years ago, so anything can happen.
It is, yeah. And we go into this offseason where you're like, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, and we all get thrown on our heads by week 3.
100%.
For me, for the Patriots, don't need to win this game for it to be a win. They just need Mac Jones against a line like Philly's D to sort of look like he's improved, and Matt Patricia was the issue and Joe Judge was the issue. So they need to see improvement from him. The Eagles need to win this game. If they lose it, that is it's a loss. But that's a dumb way to phrase it. But that's a hard season loss to lose.
Like you said, we care about tone setting here. It's not exactly, we're not saying their seasons are over. You've been bringing that up for a lot of teams. And as much as I'd love to say, well, actually, it's important that, to remember one game at a time, I mean, it's true. But at the same time, I get what you're saying. Momentum matters. Setting the tone for your season matters. I'm picking up what you're putting down, brother.
Because if the Pats are 0-3, forget it.
Yeah, burn it down.
the playoffs.
Burn it down. Except for Bill Belichick, I think he's got a lifetime contract. That's my opinion. Rams at Seahawks. And this one, Adrian, I feel like I've been saying this a lot, but I feel like there's no way that this game doesn't go the way that we all think it's going to go. LA Rams, 5.5-point underdogs at Seattle, where Geno Smith is coming in as this big man on campus. He's the new guy, right? He's no longer the backup, write him off joke of the town. He's, he was a Pro Bowler last year. He's got potential to go out there and throw for 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns, and nobody would bat an eye. So Rams, who are missing their best player, who are the youngest team in the NFL, whose quarterback can't get his wide receivers to look up from their phones, I'm not in. I'm not in on the Rams. And if the vibes were bad earlier in the offseason, they're worse now. And they could be contending 100%. For the number 1 overall pick, I think.
No, I'm fully on board with you there. I think they've got probably one of the weaker secondaries as well. Yeah. And they're going up against Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, and JSN, who is playing this week, by the way.
After all the hullabaloo of the wrist and everything, he's back.
Yeah, he's back, and he will be playing. And I think he's going to eat for what it's worth. I think he's really going to stamp himself.
They might hyper target him just to show. I personally think if you want to build a rookie's confidence, you go out there and you feature him in the week 1 game plan.
Totally feel you on that. And look, it can go the other way. We know the Packers I know the Packers last year. Christian Watson dropped an absolute open
worst touchdown drop I've ever seen, maybe.
Yeah. And that kind of set him back. He even admitted it. Yeah. But I won't talk about my Packers again. I think the Rams.
Nobody minds.
I think the Seahawks will cover 5.5 without problems. I think that particularly with that Cup. I know you've still got Aaron Donald. I know you've still got Matt Stafford, and I know Matt Stafford said he's feeling healthy. I still don't think that you're going to be contending. It's a division game, so it's always going to be a little bit harder because these teams tend to figure each other out after playing so many times. But I think the Seahawks have got this one. I think Seahawks are like sneaky contending for the division. I'm not saying the 49ers. It's the 49ers to lose, but Seahawks are sneaky contending.
I actually picked them to win the division last night on 30 Minutes of Football.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a gut check.
It's
a gut check for sure. I like gut checks, man. Go. I'm telling you, after this episode, you go straight to your. I'm angry at you for having not already listened to it, Adrian.
That's not misplaced, but it depends how long until the game starts.
I digress. I'll forgive you. Cowboys at Giants. Giants are 3.5-point dogs at home. Look, I think there's no doubt in my mind the Cowboys are one of the 3 juggernauts of the NFC, so I'm not mad at this line. And I think the Giants are being left for dead this offseason, which I'm not really a big fan of as a Brian Daboll truther, a Danny Dimes defender. But that being said, I'm also, I'm seeing a line here that I would exploit if I was going to bet on this game. I would take the Cowboys. Minus 3.5, even if it's at New York, even with all the positive things I've said about them. I think Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, I think they got something to prove this. And I think this is how they're going to open their season with a statement. I do.
I am one of those Giants doggers. I wasn't in on the Giants last year. I'm not in on this year. Look, I know you got a soft spot for Brian Daboll, and I understand that. Do. But I mean this to you and to anyone watching. Go look up the last 20 Coach of the Year candidates and then look up their following season record.
Yeah.
Over half have an absolute train wreck the following year. But it's not to say that's instructive. All I'm saying is this. Darren Waller has to stay healthy. He hasn't been that dude for 2 years now. He hasn't, I know we're kind of pegging him to just pop up like 800 yards, but he hasn't been that guy for a while now.
I have a question for you. I'm glad you brought up Waller specifically because I have a buddy who thinks Waller's going to be, 1,000-yard, 12 touchdowns. He said, I think Waller's going to be the wide receiver 1. And I think that's very likely. I do think it's likely. But if you got the field of Giants weapons for fantasy finish, would you take the field over Waller or would you take Waller? I took the field as well because somebody 100%. in that field is going to emerge, right? Somebody has to.
I would look. The thing is with Waller, one, he has to stay healthy.
Yeah, he's going to miss 3 games for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I really like Jalen Hyatt. I feel like he's going to come out and do really well. Yeah, there's a lot to love there. So, no, I would definitely take the field.
But 100%. I think in this game, it's a no-brainer. Dallas's defense is great. And New York offense will take some time to gel, I think, with, Danny Pesos. Thank you. This is my moment, actually. So Jets are 2.5-point dogs at home on Monday Night Football against my Bills. And I did actually wear a special shirt for this. So I want to show you, actually.
Wow. I love it.
This is where I'm at with it. Keep Buffalo a secret, okay? Keep doubting us. Somebody picked them to go 4th in the division yesterday, bro. The national
Did you
media
get that
is out
made?
there. No,
Did you get that
actually.
made?
No,
You
actually,
bought it?
Josh
Okay,
Allen
cool.
wore it in an interview, and I bought it when I saw it because I
love it.
I like it. But I used to wear it a lot until last year when they were the Super Bowl picks, and then I put it away. But they're back to being a secret, Adrian. They're back to being the hole in the wall spot on the corner of the street that nobody knows about. They're not McDonald's. They're not Starbucks. They're the spot that you know the owner, and the owner knows your name. Okay, you know what I'm saying?
I do. And they know your coffee as well.
Yeah, right. Literally,
I know what you want. You want the usual? Yeah.
And Brian picked them to win the Super Bowl yesterday. I'm spoiling this whole episode for you, but I won't be doing that. But I think in this specific game, it's going to come down to Buffalo Bills' strength of their pass rush. Even though they're down Von Miller, I think Greg Rousseau, Leonard Floyd, Ed Oliver, I think they're going to make some chaos for Aaron Rodgers, who can't really look. Aaron Rodgers had the 3rd ranked offensive line last year, according to Pro Football Focus. He has the 23rd this year, according to Pro Football Focus. I think they're going to have him rattled, and I'm predicting 38-24 Bills. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills here. As much as I want the Jets to do well, everything you said is undeniable. Their line is not good. It's turnstile. If anyone who watched Hard Knocks, you would have seen Aaron Rodgers just how quickly he gets frustrated. In episode 4, in a practice, he was just losing his absolute donuts. I don't think we could even play like 3 words in a row from what he said because of all the curse words. And I think he's going to get frustrated. I think he's in a new team. I know he's the top dog. The only thing I will say is that Garrett Wilson looked superhuman like in preseason.
Oh, he's going to be unbelievable. No, I think he'll eat against Buffalo for whatever that's worth. I do think he'll get 4 receptions.
In our Dynasty League, I went in straight after that preseason. I went and offered 2 firsts to try and take him off. I can't remember who. I think it might have been Pro Football Demon.
I love that move. I want to address really quick before we get to the main topic, the main topic within the main topic. A lot of inception on today's show. That's the theme. Armand called my shirt ugly, and I'm taking it personally, Armand. Okay, I thought we were friends. And he said Pro Football Focus is wrong, which they have been wrong. So no worries. It'll be fun, Armand. I'm looking forward to the friendly rivalry that we'll have all year. But as you know, I don't even think the Jets will make the playoffs. Hot take. Hot take. We have a special guest for this episode. Who else would you rather see talk about the Lions than resident Lions truther and homer, our producer, Anthony Weiner. Anthony, you must be off your rocker with excitement right now, no?
Yes, I'm extremely excited. The way that the season ended in Green Bay when we beat Aaron Rodgers and stopped it from going to playoffs.
Yep.
Okay, I'm catching strays here. Catching strays.
Just seeing that happen was almost like a precursor to the season, and so now we're going to see more of that. And that's my ultimate prediction to what the season's going to look like. But I'm excited to talk about tonight's game. Is the first time the Detroit Lions are opening the season in NFL history.
I love it. I'm so excited for you, Anthony. And my favorite thing, Adrian, I don't know if you've ever experienced this as well, Adrian. I know I experienced it, especially during the playoffs, but where you're so excited and you're so anxious that like I'll be sitting there and like my girl will be like, yo, like, oh, you ready? Are you excited for kickoff? And I'm like, yeah, I'm really excited. I can't wait. And like I said to Anthony,
you must be
off your rocker. And he's like, you must be off your rocker. And he's like, yeah, I'm pretty excited. I think Anthony probably has don't take his blood pressure right now.
No, for sure.
Anthony needs a sedative. Because I need a sedative.
This is all an act right now.
Not even a Lions fan.
I'm putting on a face.
Oh, Anthony, I'm so
weirdly the line hasn't moved though from the Kelsey going out.
It has. It's down to full point.
It did move.
It was 4.5.
It's 3.5
yesterday, and it was 7 when the Lions opened.
I stand corrected.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah, no, it was 7.
And Anthony knows this because he worked at the same restaurant as me. But there's a busser there who, him and we're both degenerate gamblers, so we do ridiculous, stupid bets all the time. And he loves this like thing where he's like, "I'll flip a coin, and if it's my coin toss, like if I win, I get a lower line than you get, or if you win, you get a higher line." So I was in on Detroit all along, and he was like, "Flip a coin. If you win, you get Lions +8. If I win, you get Lions +5." And we made this bet like 2 weeks ago. So It was a terrible, and he won the coin toss, right? So I got Lions +5, and I was like, damn it. Like I wanted the 8, but now I'm not even worried about it. I have a better line than Vegas is giving. So I'd like to, because it's the main topic and because it's Anthony's team. I think I'd like to break this down on both sides of the ball for both teams. So Lions offense versus Chiefs defense, and then Chiefs offense versus Lions defense. And nobody better to start with than Anthony Weiner, who knows the Lions inside and out. Anthony, what's the key matchup in this game?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the most competitive narrative here is the Chiefs offense versus the Lions defense. If Patrick Mahomes can be slowed down even just a little bit, I don't think the Lions are going to have any issues scoring on their side of the ball. It's stopping Kansas City from scoring. That's the key to winning this game. And I think that everyone's like, Kansas City's that team to win because they just won the Super Bowl. But and I'm not saying I'm not saying the Chiefs are going to have a hangover. I think that they're going to be like, do you ever have like 2 beers and then you wake up kind of foggy? You're not hungover, but you're kind of like, wait, what?
You're projecting like a morning after haze for the Chiefs.
Exactly, a morning after haze. I think
that
the Chiefs might take a second to get into the swing of things, missing Chris Jones and Travis Kelce, who was a huge part of the season that they had last year.
The biggest.
So now he has to rely on receivers who have yet to prove themselves as star receivers.
Yeah.
And so with Detroit
has he ever had star receivers? He's never had star receivers.
He had Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill.
I'll take that. Sorry, Tyreek Hill. You're right. But last year he had no star receivers. Yeah. And in most of his games, he was passing to 6 or 7 targets.
But he still had Travis Kelce, though, right? Like we've never seen. And I said this on Coffee Shop Sports the other day. He's going to have to play left-handed in this game. We've never seen this before. We've never once seen Patrick Mahomes. No. And you know what? He is Patrick Mahomes. And Brian McFadden on the show yesterday really rained on Anthony's parade. He was like, I don't care. He's Patrick Mahomes. He's going to be fine. He is a magician. There's every bit of a chance that he goes out there and does what he always does. But for the first time ever, there's the strongest chance that he doesn't.
Right.
I think I don't know another quarterback, and this just sort of talks to his greatness, who loses his best offensive and defensive player and is still favorites. It really doesn't take that much of a hit. And I'm sorry, Ant, because you know I love you, man. And I can see how, and I'm pumped.
Hey, they just won a Super Bowl. I'm not taking it personally, I promise.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the thing is, I know the Lions went and redid some parts in their defense, which they needed because they started the season last year. That defense was a turnstile. And they were the reason for a lot of those losses. I just don't know against KC, especially like they've won 8 week 1 games in a row because they've got Andy Reid, who just schemes up a completely, like, you can't watch tape from last year because his offense is completely different every year.
Yeah.
And they've got Patrick Mahomes, who just makes everything work.
The
only thing was that L'Jarius Sneed was injured, but he's back at full practice. That would have been a nice one to have just to keep your offense going.
Right.
And I know I'm jumping in because we wanted to let Ant talk about the Lions.
No, you're good. No, this is the flow of it.
This is what we want.
Gibbs is one to watch. They said they're going to feature him heavily in the passing game. Yeah. That to me is interesting though, because if your stud running back, you want him in the passing game, but he shouldn't be a feature. Like you got Amon-Ra, and then who's behind him?
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I know. I'm not sorry. I'm back. I'm doubling down.
You're raining quite hard on the parade as well. But Anthony, go ahead and
bring
tell
your
him
umbrella.
Who's behind him. I know who's behind him, but you go ahead and tell him.
Well, you have Marvin Jones Jr. came back. You have Josh Reynolds. He's not a star, but he can still catch the ball. David Montgomery is going to be the run game, while Jahmyr Gibbs is behind him, focusing on whatever Ben Johnson has in store, because he wants to utilize Jahmyr Gibbs in ways that none of us are expecting. So I'm waiting to see that being implemented, and then let David Montgomery take the running back part. And then let the receivers get catches from Goff. And I just think that offense is going to operate at a totally different level.
Let us not forget about rookie tight end Sam Laporta, who has a lot of buzz, a lot of hype. And so when we talk about, first of all, the only place we got off the rails is specifically focusing on Chiefs offense versus Lions defense. I think linebacker Jack Campbell's going to get in there. I think he's going to have 8 to 12 tackles and maybe force a turnover. I think Aiden Hutchinson's going to have a big game.
There's still Aiden Hutchinson. He is still he was a runner-up for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I think he's going to go out there, have a good game. I still think the Chiefs will move the ball.
Now he has a little bit of experience. So now he's like, I've been in the league. I've been hitting these guys for a year now. Like, I'm ready to go out, and like now he can say that he's been in the league for a year, and so we're going to see a lot from there. Yeah, I mean, I know we talk about the other defensive guys, but Aiden Hutchinson cannot be slept on. He's going to be a big part of that defense, stopping Kansas City.
Definitely. I still think the Chiefs will move the ball, but I think points will be at a premium. I don't think it's going to be the shootout we all thought anymore. I'm kind of projecting a little bit more of a lower scoring game. Let's flip over to the other side of the ball. And Anthony, I want your hot takes. And Adrian, like you did last time, that was great. I want you to go back at Anthony because it seems like you guys, there's a rivalry
Just
here.
come back and torch him.
I'm playing the mediator here. I've gathered, but
hey, I like a good rivalry.
Let's talk Lions offense versus Chiefs defense. Anthony, tell me why the Lions offense is going to exploit the Chiefs defense.
So the Chiefs defense, they allowed, I think it was the 16th most points last year. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But they allowed a lot of points last year.
Middle of the road.
They were able to work with that because of how explosive their offense was. So they were constantly outscoring their opponents, but they allowed a lot of touchdowns. And the Lions being I think they're the fourth most scoring offense in the last 8 weeks of the season last year. And if they keep on that offense and keep on that offensive scheme with the 2 tight ends with Brock Wright and Sam Laporta, and then you have your wideout, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then you have David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, who are both great players. You use this talent and you have the right scheme, then you're going to break right through any defense. And I think that Ben Johnson knows exactly how to do that. Dan Campbell knows exactly how to do it because we saw it happen already against Green Bay at Week 18. And like I said, that was a precursor to what we're going to see. We now know from the last 8 games of last season that the Lions can compete. And I think that this is where they're going to show that they, even in 2023, that they're going to compete.
All right. So Adrian, tell me why he's wrong.
So I'll give you this, right? Without Chris Jones, I admit that KC's defense, it's not great. I just did a quick look now. They're ranked 23rd without Chris Jones in the lineup. And it's not just because Chris Jones is a monster, it's because he takes double teams. And that's the kind of key here. So they can kind of spread out what they need. I believe, like a lot of people, Jared Goff will regress, but I don't think to the level people are expecting. I don't think he's going back to like, I'm just about to be traded from the Rams. I just think you can't keep that production at the level he was going at.
He could be better. I'm just saying
better.
He could be better.
You know what? Look, it's in the range of outcomes. But if I was a betting man,
good offensive line. I'm just saying he's being left
top 5 quarterback this year. Top 5
in fantasy. It's possible. I won't say in NFL, but it's possible.
Top 5 in NFL. Top 5 quarterback.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying in fantasy. Anthony.
I'm saying that
he's sipping on
top
that
5 overall. Top 5 overall. So are we saying? Just to throw this out there, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts. He's going to be better than one of those ones.
Yes.
Top 6?
I don't agree, but I think he's going to be top 10. No doubt, Adrian. And I'm gathering that you don't think he's going to. You just said regress.
No, so sorry. I said, and I also said could be top 10. I don't think he will be. But the thing is, look, the thing I will say is I love Amon-Ra. I drafted him first. I ended up trading him away, but that's not the point. I don't, unless Jahmyr Gibbs turns out to be this unbelievable stud, which he could be. That's in the range of outcomes. He was the only reason he kind of got overshadowed is because Bijan is such a prodigy. I think their offense is not going to have the same firepower that it did last year. Although I will say that the Chiefs defense is not going to have power in this game. So I think that the Lions are going to put points on the board. I don't know. It's just, it's such a, in most games, you can kind of put logic to where you're thinking it. And when it comes to the Chiefs, it's just like, but Patrick Mahomes, no matter what you said, but Patrick Mahomes, you know what it is? It's like the equivalent of a child's and then what? And then what? And then what? That's Patrick Mahomes. Because he just is the X factor.
Yeah. I don't disagree with either of you, actually. And I'm actually struggling to pick the game. I'm kind of gathering where you both are landing on.
Look at you, Switzerland.
I know, really. I am. I've learned a thing or two from watching Brian McFadden over the years. But here's my thing. I'm gonna settle this. I do think we need to get into picks. I think we all need to hug it out because we got a little hot today. And it was good. It was fun. This is what this podcast is all about. You two. But I think I'm ready to get into picks. So, Anthony, why don't you kick us off with your prediction for tonight's game?
My prediction for tonight's game is Lions win 35-32. Game-winning field goal in the fourth quarter. They beat the spread and win.
Let's go. There we go. We're back, baby. First pick of the season of a Thursday night preview. Adrian, why don't you give us a little rebuttal there?
I hope you're right. That would be an amazing game. No, but I don't think you're right. But I hope you're right because that'd be an amazing game. I will go Chiefs 31. No, Chiefs 27. The Lions 22.
Okay, yeah, great picks. Do you want to give us like a summary? How do you think this game's gonna go? Tell us why.
I don't think the Chiefs will put up the same points because without Kelsey. I think that's kind of why
lowers the ceiling.
I threw that 30 and then I dropped it because I don't think they're going to put up that many points. The Lions, like I said, will put points on the board. 22 is a weird one. Maybe I'll go 24. I could see 3 tuds and a field goal.
So then you do think the Lions will cover then? 27-24 is covering.
That's true. Yeah, okay. I'll say they'll cover.
So you're taking Lions plus 3.5. Anthony is taking the Lions outright to win 35-32. And so we're all picking the Lions to cover. You guys are split on who's going to win. I'm going to break the tie here. And I can feel it being emotions. I can feel the emotional manipulation.
Baby.
I got Anthony with his hat and his logo, his flag. You know, I've been a fan of a playoff drought team. So I am inclined to say that the statement is made tonight. And yes, Patrick Mahomes is the answer to every single thing that the Lions will throw at them tonight. I just think minus Travis Kelce, minus Chris Jones, it's 1A and 1B. 2A and 2B of the most irreplaceable players on that team. And I think I'm going to predict the Lions to win this game tonight, 34-28. And I'm thinking that the Chiefs are going to have some splaining to do as to why Chris Jones is not on the field. And hopefully Travis Kelce
Kevin
comes back and sets records. Yes, sir.
Meet me at Starbucks tomorrow. I'm buying you a cold brew.
Let's go. Just for the pick. I don't even need to be right. I'm doing this every week now.
No, I do. Obviously, yeah. I mean, obviously I agree with you. And but not only is Chris Jones and Travis Kelce out, but I just think that the Lions are a completely different team, and
they're going to be hungry.
Adrian's kind of proving that there are people who still don't see what's happening there.
Yeah.
And I just think that it's going to be a big surprise.
I didn't realize that was a shot until the end of it.
I liked it. I liked it.
I love you, Adrian. Don't worry.
Right back at you.
It's all love.
It's been so long. It's been so long since the Lions have been good. 1992 to be exact. Been good that I understand.
No, since they won the division, they've been good since then. They just haven't won the division since then.
Can I ask you, Anth, what's your view on this? If they let's hypothetically in a world where they don't make the playoffs, is Dan Campbell still around next year?
Absolutely.
Ooh.
Yeah. Look, the fan base love him. The fan base love him. I think he's got a little bit more rope.
The players up. There are players in the league who have spoke out and said, "I want to play for Dan Campball." Yeah. Like there have been players.
He's awesome. That. He's so lovable.
He is. In Hard Knocks, I fell in love with him.
Me too.
Literally, was going to divorce my wife and go after Dan Campbell. Fell in love with him.
Dude, what are you talking about? Howie Roseman's your bae. Don't do this.
So don't listen to me. Come here, Howie. We can make this work. We can make this.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I think I might be ready to call it a wrap on our first NFL game pick episode for Legit Football of the 2023 season. Yeah.
I don't remember you saying your score. I interrupted you.
I believe I said 34-28. 30.
It was mid-30s to high.
We can run it back. I said my score, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. I think it was 34-28.
Whichever one's more accurate is
whichever one's closer. I'll take both. But I do want to just thank you guys for being here. I want to thank Armand for keeping the chat on fire as always. I want to thank Anthony for jumping on and being producer extraordinaire. We've missed him terribly these last couple of weeks. Hopefully we get him back a little bit more. Thank you, Armand, for the love. Adrian Revito, I couldn't pick a better person to go back and forth with on those games. The rapid fire really worked, man.
Felt great.
Under an hour 5, which is like for talking about 16 games, I'm damn impressed. I'm damn proud. I do want to end the show with one thing. You all know it, baby. Keep Buffalo a secret. Don't tell nobody. It's our secret. Thank you for listening to the Legit Football NFL podcast. Adrian and Anthony, anything you want to say to the folks?
Enjoy Thursday Night Football and go Lions.
Take a sedative. I can't even sit down right now. I'm losing my mind over
Seriously.
here. The adrenaline is just kicking in. All right. Mad love to the listeners. Mad love to the boys. This has been Legit Football NFL podcast, and we are out.
Go Lions.